You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
Victory Monday, baby! Dolphins move to 8-3 in what must be not the happiest of Victory Mondays, but Victory Mondays nonetheless. Our Miami Dolphins beat the Houston Texans 30-15. It can only be described as a game of two halves. But Mr. Victory Visor Charlie Touche, how are you?
Cooling. Y'all know what time it is, man. We out here. Victory Visors in the building. 8-3. We improved at 8-3. Big game coming up against San Fran. Already. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. Kadeem, bro. Tell of two halves, you said, bro. You think the bye week had anything to do with it?
No. So the notes I made was that the bye week had rust, which I think we saw from a few drops, a few of his passes being a bit you haven't been like prior to the bye week. They were like the final trip to the end zone before the half, where it was a bit like Tua's forcing it a bit, but I think that's where the rust was. I don't want to delve too much into it, but in my opinion, one injury completely derailed the entire offense to the point where some Dolphins fans are now saying season's done. It's like, wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I think the bye week put in some rust, but I think an injury to a key offensive player just through not just the players but the coach as well, and I think he kind of alluded to that after in terms of his play calling and stuff like that. How about you?
I think any Dolphin fan that says the season's done is probably like isn't a Tua supporter, and they were probably on that other side anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're coming in with the negative hot takes already like that, oh, Teron Armstead's hurt, season's over with. Teron Armstead's been playing hurt all season. For those who don't know, Teron Armstead suffered a pec strain in the game, and according to Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, it's not as bad as originally feared. So whatever that means, doesn't sound like a season ending. They also said he'll miss some time. That's all we got. He'll miss some time, and it's not as bad as originally feared. So it doesn't sound like it's season ending, but it does sound like we're going to have to play without him. And anyone who watched the game knows that that's going to be a task by itself to play without the starting left tackle. Before he was hurt, we were looking good, bro. Wasn't nothing getting in. After he got hurt, it was like the cheese from Switzerland. What'd you make of it?
Yeah, it was alarming how the offensive line fell apart without the left tackle. Again, one of my notes that prior to that injury was the offensive line looks great. Friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson looks a bit rusty. And I wanted to watch it back because, again, there were some, hot takes on social media saying that this has always been Austin Jackson. And I don't believe that. I think Austin Jackson, prior to his injury this season, looked better than he had previously. I think he hadn't played since week 2. I think that showed. Brandon Shell coming in at left tackle looked completely different to the guy who played right tackle. So my notes I took down in the first half was no offense to friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson, but I would move back to show at right tackle, and friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson would come in if Shell got. Is it Snell or Shell, by the way? I keep on saying Shell.
Snell.
Snell, yeah. Apologies. Snell would basically only get benched if he plays really, really badly. And I think it's a situation where what we saw was a player who goes, as they say, not everyone can go from left tackle to right tackle, apparently, or, from left to right, anything. It's difficult. And I think we saw that with Snell, because when he played right tackle, he looked really, really good. I don't think he allowed a sack, didn't allow many pressures. At left tackle, it was like, yo, what's going on? And I think, Coach McDaniel said in the press conference, said to the players, some of it is on him. He was calling plays which, he would basically if he had Tua back there with, the starting O-line. Once Tua went out and the offensive line was down 1 to 2 starters, the longer plays weren't developing, and he kept on calling the longer plays, which is why drives kept on stalling. And I'm glad that he came out and said, that's on me. My play calling that second half had a lot to be desired for. So, yeah, I think this offensive line isn't as bad as people are making, or as bad as fearing, but I do think we are better off playing Snow at right tackle and working out what to do at left tackle, because I don't think you can play Snow at left tackle. What do you think?
Yeah, I would have thought that was that would have been the first to go to, would have been to put Austin Jackson, friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson at left tackle, and to put Snell in at right tackle. That I thought that would have been the first thought. But the coaches see things every day in practice. They know the players better than we do. They know the strengths. They know the weaknesses. So I would think, they knew what was best for the team. But that's not always the case. Because GTD affiliate Sherrod Steve came on talking about, you don't think these GMs know what they're doing? And I said, nah, unequivocally. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always the case. You know what I'm saying? That people know what they're doing just because they get paid to do it. I.e., look at everybody on TV, right? All the analysts on TV, they really don't know what they're talking about all the time. So when it was 30 to zip, Kadeem, 30 Z, y'all say, right? Nil?
No, 30-0.
Z is Z. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's 30-0, bro. And Tua was still in the game. What were you thinking?
Is this before Armstead went out, or after Armstead went out?
Just, it's 30 zip. I'm just saying, it's 30 zip.
I think so. I was texting Drakey, and I think, or my thought at the time was, because of what I believe to be some of the rust in that first half, I thought, okay, we're gonna play the rest of the third quarter, to try, try and get some of these kinks out, and then the fourth quarter, Skylar Thompson. I think that sack before half, where Tua got folded like a pretzel, I was like, take him out. Like, dude, like his body, and forgive me for saying this, he looked like you in a rear naked chokehold with William Hayes. Like the way he was like all bent back, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Bro, just because you say forgive me for saying this, don't mean you're supposed to say it, bro.
I'm just saying.
But, hey, what they say in Talladega Nights? Part what they say? No disrespect, or he said something. I forget. And I know someone listening is gonna know the quote from the movie.
Great movie, by the way.
Dang. I forgot what it is. I gotta find the line.
But yeah, so at half, I was going back and forth with Drakey, and I was like, I'd pull him right now, but I understand them keeping him in again to try and get some of that rust out. And I think he was just getting hit over and over again. And I think Mike McDaniel was just like, nah, we ain't doing this today. Like, because it's 30 zip, the defense was playing well. There's no need to risk him at all. As the game was going on, it was like, should we put Tua back in to try and ice this game? But the Texans reverted back to the Texans in the fourth quarter, and got the dub. But yeah, at 30 zip, I wanted to pull him, but I understood keeping him in just to try and get some of these timings, which happens, after a bye week.
I don't know if that was it, Kadeem. Mike McDaniel, shout out to Coach Mike McDrip. He kind of knows when I need something in my parlays, bro. And he looks out for me often. So the over under the Tua's passing this week was 286 and a half. And Tua was at like 275. And we're getting closer to halftime. I'm like, oh, they're gonna pull him. He's not coming out. You know what I'm saying? He's not coming back out to play after halftime. And he doesn't have his 270. He doesn't have his 286 and a half yet. So I'm like, man, every possession he kept coming in. I'm like, we kind of don't need this man back in here. But then I started thinking when he came back to the Pittsburgh game from being out 2.5 weeks, he looked rusty. So now you have a bye week, which was the question when I first asked you. I think the bye week did have something to do with the offense not meshing, right? So yeah, you got people hurt, but then I kind of feel like a couple weeks, people go on vacation, people wake up late, people go to sleep late. You know what I'm saying? This was the perfect warm-up game to come back into playing football. We played the Texans, 1-8-1 Texans, or something like that, right? So why not? So I think the bigger picture, honestly, and this is just me saying this, I think they wanted to get him to 300 yards, and then they're going to take him out. He was flirting with 300, and they came back after halftime, still put him back in there. I'm like, oh, they just really want this man to get 300 yards so it could be another 300-yard game. And he eventually gets like 290 something, and then throws another one, like 299, and then he takes more hits. I'm like, bruh, forget the parlays, bruh. Take this man out the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do not need to lose our quarterback because we're trying to win our parlays. You should have just took the under. I'm just saying. So that's where we were. I honestly believe that's what it was. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But it was good to see, okay, well, maybe it is more than just an accolade that we're trying to achieve. It was, the offense can't go into San Fran next week looking like they do right now. So let's try to fix it up now instead of trying to fix it up in San Francisco, California next Sunday. So we'll never know the truth, but that's what I think. I really do think it had everything to do with 300 yards. That being said, before yesterday or before Sunday, I thought we were ready for San Fran. Now, if you look at who San Fran was when they began the season with Trey Lance, I did not fear San Fran. I don't fear San Fran, by the way. I want to make that very clear. And I think everyone who listens to this podcast knows I don't fear any team in the NFL but Buffalo. I'm like, all right, Buffalo's legit. And they're not even that legit no more. So when I look at Kansas City, they play down the competition. I think they're beatable. I think you could put Patrick Mahomes in some situations where he depends on his supernatural abilities, and then he just does what he does, and it usually works. I think you could get him into some situations where he's careless with the football. Same thing with Josh Allen, except the Bills as a team aren't it right now. And it's perfect that we play them pretty soon because they're not it right now. All in all, Kadeem, San Fran, on the other hand, has flipped the switch to where they lost Trey Lance, brought in someone who knows the system in Jimmy Garoppolo. They know Jimmy Garoppolo's strengths and weaknesses. Then they just acquired Christian McCaffrey. So they're gelling over there right now at the right time. And had we not had a bye week, we would be gelling. And this would be a very good Super Bowl preview. The Dolphins versus the 49ers. Because if you ask me today, who's going to the Super Bowl, I'm saying the Dolphins and the 49ers. So we're going to get a Super Bowl preview this Sunday coming up, but we're not going to preview the game yet.
Yeah, and I think just to quickly touch upon the 49ers, I don't fear Jimmy G, but this defense, I think the stat is having given up a point in the second half since like week 7. Like this defense has just clamped up, and I think that's going to be very interesting to see how Mike McDaniel schemes against this defense. And it's also very telling when Mike McDaniel first joined and he spoke about, seeing the Dolphins, he referenced that game we played where this defense just clamped up on Jimmy G with something like 47-13, something dumb like that. And he was like, I want that defense. So, the defense of the first half against Texans, if we can carry that into the game against the 49ers, that'd be brilliant. But back to the Texans, that first half was, I wouldn't even say it's the most complete half performance we've seen, because I still think the offense left a lot of plays on the field. Jalen Waddle had 2 costly drops. Jeff Wilson had a drop, and the run game didn't really get going at all. It was great to see friend of the podcast, Mars Gaskin, get some carries. But yeah, it was we went up 30-zip, and I did say it was going to be a pass to pad game, like pass to sticks, Texans, you on it, keep it moving. We was up 30-zip, and I think it's fair to say we didn't even leave second gear. It was cruise control. Xavier Howard had a screw from score. Excellent interception by Van Ginkel, but it was thrown right at him. It was just, at halftime, we're looking at it going, I wanted a 50 burger before the game. I was like, I'm getting my 50 burger. There's no way this game finishes 30-0. And it didn't. I just didn't expect us to not score in the second half. But again, I think that's more just, again, like what Mike McDaniel said, the play call in the second half wasn't quite there. What did you make of the general feeling from players, which was kind of disappointment, but not disappointment because they won, but the manner of that victory? What did you make of that?
I like it. That's how they're supposed to feel. The Texans weren't supposed to score any points on us. We were supposed to run it up on them. We were supposed to put up 40 on them. We didn't. We didn't play well. The second half looked not good. Skylar Thompson came in, didn't do anything. No shot to Skylar Thompson. I'm saying we didn't do anything when Skylar Thompson came in. You're not supposed to feel good about this. Nah. So I like the fact that no one feels good about it. And I think correction, Kadeem, we did give up a couple points to Cleveland in the second half, but they're the only team we gave up second half points to in the past 4 games. Something of that nature.
No, I was talking about San Fran. I don't think San Fran have given up a point in the second
half.
half.
Okay. I thought you said the Dolphins didn't give up second half points. So yeah, so bro, you know what's funny, Kadeem? And I'm gonna work on this because we do easy money every Fins Up Friday here on this podcast. And for those who don't know what easy money is, it's a betting, I guess, a segment where we talk about the bets to take of the week for the Miami Dolphins. And I usually shoot out a couple other little bets. Hey, look at this bet, look at that bet, look at this bet, look at that bet. But then I give you the pick of the week, which was Miami Dolphins at halftime, Miami Dolphins at full time. That one hit, we cashed out. Cha-ching. And Kadeem, before we left that podcast, I actually, what's more likely to happen? Tua throwing 2 touchdowns or the Dolphins winning at halftime and full time. So for those who are paying attention, the line has moved on Tua. He's no longer a touchdown and a half quarterback over under every week like he has been for the previous 11 weeks of the season. It was 1.5 touchdowns over under, 1.5 touchdowns over under. Tua has moved the line. They moved it on him. He is a 2.5 over under quarterback now in the NFL. Here's just a example of who else is a 2.5 quarterback over under touchdown in the NFL. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. That's it. So Tua has now entered the realm of 2.5 touchdowns. And maybe Dak Prescott is 2.5, but I can't remember off the top of my dome. When we come up the easy money this week, I'll let everyone know who's a 2.5 touchdown quarterback. That being said, Kadeem, I might want to pull up maybe you guys follow our shorts. We have shorts on Go Time Dolphins on YouTube. And I think I'm gonna start putting up a betting short. That way it comes out like on Saturday. And easy money is comes out on Friday, and then some of the lines aren't out on Thursday night. Then there's more lines that come out Friday and Saturday. So if you guys follow us on Go Time Dolphins on YouTube, please subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Turn on notifications, because now I'm gonna start making a just a short on the bets that are pretty friendly for us going into that Sunday, a day before the game. We get some better odds. All that being said, Kadeem, I took a same game parlay, and Coach McDaniel was big talking friend of the podcast, Myles Gaskin, up 40 acres and a Hellcat. And the man basically said something that we've heard before on this podcast, not only on this podcast, but in the building. Myles Gaskin is the epitome of a Miami Dolphin. Like, bruh, so much so, Kadeem, that the man almost started tearing up, talk about Myles Gaskin. I'm like, yo, that's wild, bro. Because Myles Gaskin, came on a podcast, chopped it up, and we like, man, this is a quality dude. I met him in person. I'm like, bruh, if he is anything like everyone else if this is a representation of what's in our locker room, we're in good shape as far as the character of the team goes. Blue chip character over blue chip talent. Shout out to Kadeem Simmons, right? All that being said, Coach McDaniel's talking up Myles Gaskin on his last media availability, and he's talking up Myles Gaskin. I'm like, dang, bro. Raheem Mostert's hurt, and we mentioned on No Huddle that Raheem Mostert might not even play. So I'm like, yo, I got a hunch. We're gonna run up the score in Houston. I'm going to take an anytime touchdown from friend of the podcast, Myles Gaskin, right? So I took two same game parlays. For everyone who's listening and know what a same game parlay is, I took Tua over 286 and a half. Check. I took 40 acres and a Hellcat, anytime touchdown. We didn't get it. Then I also took Jalen Waddle, anytime touchdown. We didn't get that either. But hear me out, Kadeem. I was debating. I think I should take Tua over 286 and a half, Jeff Wilson anytime touchdown, and then I could get a Jalen Waddle, Myles Gaskin anytime touchdown, right? But then I'm going to split it, and I'm going to go $50 on that one. That paid out plus $1,900, but I didn't hit. So I lost $50. Plus 1,900, it was good odds. But then I split it, Kadeem, and I said, let's take the two over 286 and a half. Let's take the Jeff Wilson anytime touchdown, and let's take a Durham Smythe anytime touchdown. Plus 3,400. Plus 3,400 pays out $1,700 on $50. This is why I'm gonna have a segment on Saturdays, a Saturday short on the segment. But guess what, Kadeem? At the last minute,
you said no.
I switched out Jeff Wilson for Jalen Waddle, and I did not hit. Oh man, Kadeem, I felt so terrible. I like, oh man, that was an easy 1,700. I just felt like the Dolphins were gonna go up. We're gonna be playing backups by the second half, and we're gonna get a lot of garbage time touchdowns. I thought Skylar Thompson was gonna throw that Durham Smythe touchdown. Turns out it was Tua. But I didn't cash out on a plus 3,400. But that's life.
So, talking about easy money, and again, I don't bet. This is all Drakey. So Drakey had Houston at Miami, 47 plus match points. Miami Dolphins minus 14 at 21.10. Again, I'm not a betting person, but if you're a betting person, you know what that means. It was a £5 bet, return £15.50. And then he also had Dolphins minus 12, Hill and Waddle 200 plus receptions combined, 2 passing touchdowns and under 1 interception at 11-2. £5 returns, $32.50. I think at one point we looked at it as again, it was the first half, and Waddle and Hill had 9 receptions combined for 80, 100, like 149 yards, and was like, this is going to like easy money because the way the Dolphins were moving was like you couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of those bets came in. And then I had another friend who had, if I can find it quickly, it was something like he needed 2 Hill receptions and 1 Michael Carter reception, and he would win £800. And he mentioned, and he's that kind of person. He puts a bet on something or takes him in fantasy, they get injured. So he was like, when Hill takes his ACL, I was like, dude, I will kill you. I was like, I'm telling you now, yeah, I will come and find you. And what happened? Michael Carter needed 1 reception, got injured, doubtful, didn't get it. And I was like, and again, this is why I don't bet, because if I'm like that close or I switch my mind, I can't do it. And especially when you ask me what was more likely, Dolphins winning at halftime and full time, or two ways to have 2 touchdowns. And I even said, I was like, I reckon he'll get the yards, but you can imagine, it gets to the red zone, they run it in, is what it is.
Yeah.
He had 1 touchdown, and the defense, I guess, done well as well. So yeah, excellent idea on the shorts on a Saturday for easy money. I love that. So if you're not already, share, like, and subscribe. 100% subscribe, because we are so close to 1,000 subs. So a major milestone for us. So yeah.
Kadeem, we mop the floor with Texans. It doesn't look good. It's a bad mop job. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you ever had to mop your peoples ever make you mop the floor and then be like, nah, you gotta do it again. I don't know if you had to when you was younger.
I worked in McDonald's and had to, like, mop the floor, and sometimes you mop it, you do a good job, and the manager's like, nah, do it again. You're like,
So that's exactly what we did with the Texans. We mopped the floor with them, but it wasn't a good job of mopping the floor. Now, we're not going to preview the San Fran game, but that wasn't the same kind of performance that we seen the past 3 weeks, was it? Am I tripping? Like, there's how do you feel right now going into not even just San Fran, a 3-game road trip, playing some significant teams who I think was the best team in the NFL on paper in the Chargers. Before them, you have San Fran, and after those 2 games, you have your division rival in the Bills. Are we okay? Like, is it like, look, it was 1 game, let's relax, we'll get back on track against San Fran? Or is it, we lost our left tackle, maybe we do need some more depth on the line, and we don't know what team we're gonna go in against when we play San Fran?
I normally the negative one. I'm positive, because I think the Texans didn't stop us. We stopped us. I think if at any point Mike McDaniel said, you know what, I'm going to dial it back.
I don't know, Kadeem, I'm going to interrupt real quick. My bad. That O-line was leaky, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You said we stopped us, but that O-line was leaking.
So I was going to say, the O-line was leaking, and I think if at any point Mike McDaniel said, you know what, I'm going to scheme around the offensive line issues, I think he could have done. I think even when Armstead went out, he was like, you know what, I'm going to dial up a play which takes 2.9 seconds to develop, knowing full well, because again, he's very meticulous. He knows on this drop back, a receiver runs this depth of route, and it's going to be there. And I think he was like, I can still call these plays because the Texans are buns. Even though the offensive line is leaking, we're going to be okay. Tua's going to maneuver, all that kind of stuff. I think the offensive line was even worse than he expected. What I will say, credit to Tua. I think Tua didn't try and play hero ball. I think there's a lot of times where the pocket was collapsing, and he's like, you know what? I'm giving up. I'm going to curl up in a shell. I've been sacked. We're up 30, is what it is. I think prior to his injury, he would have tried to escape and throw it, all that kind of stuff. I think he is learning that, you know what? The game is done. I don't need to try and escape. I'm just going to just fall.
No, I don't think he's learning. I think he already learned. I think when he missed those games earlier this season and he took the hit in the Cincinnati game, That was all he took. And even before this game against Houston, you seen him not taking no more hits. You're like, bruh, I'm too valuable to the team, MVP, that I need to hold on to the ball to make an extra step happen in the second quarter of a game. Like, nah, bro, we need you to be available. So now what happens is, and I seen it before Houston, he was throwing the ball away. We remember we seen him throwing the ball away. He took that hit, a couple hits in Pittsburgh for himself. Like, nah, I want to know if I could take these hits. And I can't blame him for that, but you never seen that happen again. And in this Houston game, it was a little more apparent because he was throwing the ball away when he had a little pressure and escaped the pressure and still threw the ball away. Like, yo, the old Tua would have got out of there, escaped the pressure, and then waited till the pressure got back on him again. You see what I'm saying? So you've seen it a couple times in this Houston game where that ball was in the front row of the seats, and he probably actually had more time to hold on to it, but he still got rid of it. So I'm okay with that. You got to live to fight another day for sure.
Yeah. I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just to finish my point, I think I'm not worried going forward because I think what McDaniel's going to do is that, and especially against San Fran with Fred Warner, Bosa, they've got players who are going to cause mayhem. It's going to be an excellent challenge, but I think, like, you know what? I can scheme, maybe we aren't going to go for the deep bombs as often as we have in recent weeks, which hasn't even been that often. But we're going to basically kill you by 1,000 cuts, and we're going to, once again, two best strengths, getting the ball out quickly. Maybe we see a bit more RPOs, but also, okay, we're really going to kill San Fran underneath intermediate. So, drop back out. We aren't going to drop back, play developing down the field. Oh no, the pocket's collapsing. I don't think we're going to see that over the next few weeks until we get to an Armstead back, because Armstead left tackle, Snell right tackle, Williams center, Hunt and Jones seem to be the best five at the moment. And I think, he tried to see what he can do with the five he had on Sunday. It didn't work. And I think he learned from that. From what he said, both to the media and to players in the locker room, it seems he knows he kind of messed up in the second half.
AFC East update. So we haven't had a podcast episode since the Bills almost lost to the Lions. Bro, the Lions blew that game, bro. Like that was a W for the Lions, and Dan Campbell's my dog. I hate it had to be him. But you don't have 3 timeouts on the right side of the 2-minute warning, which is 4 timeouts. And all you have to do is go the length of the field. You have 4 timeouts. All right, let's be clear. You have 3 timeouts, a 2-minute warning, 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get a touchdown. For you to be playing for a field goal with 3 timeouts, a 2-minute warning, and 2.5 minutes left, and all you need is 35 yards, that is terrible coaching, bro. Like, and not only that, Kadeem, let's be real. You're playing for overtime where it's really a 1-possession game, technically, where if they get the ball first and score a touchdown, it's over. Or if you get the ball first, you're still playing extended time with this team that you probably have no business beating anyway. Why not use that 1-possession game with 4 opportunities to stop the clock? Like, the opportunity that you were playing for overtime is not better than the opportunity that you had in front of you. You see what I'm saying? Like, there was no situation in overtime that would present itself that was better than 2.5 minutes, 3 timeouts, and a 2-minute warning. And you had that at your disposal, and you blew it. So that's unfortunate that the Bills got let off the hook. But I'm gonna be real with you, Kadeem. It's stuff like that, bro. The Bills been playing in all these close games in the past 4 weeks. I'm like, bro, we can handle these Bills, bro. I like it. And take it back to the other AFC East team, another AFC East team, which is the Paper Planes. They look better without Zach Wilson. Like, that's not even a joke. I'm like, yo, they look better without Zach Wilson. I'm not. They the Paper Planes. They ain't nothing to me. But they do look better without Zach Wilson, bro. Were you able to see any of it?
Yeah, and I don't want to get into the whole media, Dolphins, all that kind of stuff. We beat the Bears. They had Justin Fields just like, it's just the Bears. It's nothing. It don't matter. not only did the Jets have the third string quarterback against the Bears, they beat the Bears. Have you seen the Jets? It's like, yo, like, shut up, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, relax. And to go back to the Lions as well, I feel like Dan Campbell and his coaching staff didn't watch that Buffalo Kansas City game where it was like, listen, 23 seconds for 99% of the quarterbacks, you're not doing nothing. 23 seconds for Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they're driving down the field. Don't get it twisted. So I don't know what you think you're doing. Same way, shout out to the Jags that beat the Ravens.
Jacksonville beat the Ravens, yeah.
Yeah. When you're playing against Justin Tucker, don't give him.
What was that?
What are you doing?
Bro, listen. All right, so so Kadeem brought up the Ravens Jacksonville, and to be fair, Trevor Lawrence brought them boys back. It didn't have to be that close. Trevor Lawrence had a chance to murder them earlier, but it is what it is. We got there. So Trevor Lawrence comes back, scores a touchdown, and it's basically, I want to say 16 seconds left on the clock, something like that. It's under 20 seconds left on the clock. The Ravens have a timeout. They might have two. I don't know. But they have a timeout at a minimum, and it's 16 seconds on the clock. And the Jacksonville Jaguars squib kicked it to the other 40. Like, bro, if you don't put this on the 1 yard line, bro. So in essence, all the Ravens needed was 10 yards, really, because Justin Tucker is hitting 70-yard field goals in practice, right? So he gets a chance to hit a 67-yard field goal, Kadeem. And while I'm watching it, I'm like, yo, this is good. Like, I'm about to watch history. I'm about to watch the longest field goal in the history of the NFL, which is Justin Tucker's record. He's about to break his own record. He kicks it. It looks good. Comes up 3 yards short. But still, bro, you don't do that. You don't give this team an opportunity to end you with Justin Tucker. But back to the AFC East, bro. We were talking about, some that you said about, the Jets against the Bears. They look good. Bro, it's funny when the Dolphins beat the Lions. They're like, it's just the Lions. But the Bills almost lost to just the Lions.
And the Lions beat the Packers as well.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just the Lions. Is it just the Lions? I'm just saying. You feel me?
You know what? It's funny. I was going to say this. I don't know when I was going to say it, but I'll say this now. And I don't want to be, the media's against the Dolphins, all that kind of stuff. But I do feel like you have a wide selection of media people kind of just like behind the curtain waiting for the Dolphins to lose to anyone and jump back. Told you so. Told you so. So, again, the 49ers are not a capable team. This defense is legit. Probably the best defense in the league. If the Dolphins lose a close game, regardless of how Tua could ball out, lose a close game against the best defense in the league. You know what we're here? Told you it's not it. The third good team we faced. Told you it's not it. Tua can beat the 49ers. That game against the Chargers is going to be a lot of fun. If Justin Herbert manages to win, told you, she'll take Justin Herbert. I told you, what did I say? Say Tua beats the 49ers and the Chargers and plays convincing. Dolphins are 10-3. Probably at that point, playoffs done. Lose to Buffalo. I told you the moment they... It's like, I genuinely think at this point, the media are waiting for one loss. And maybe it's just me really, with the 2-0 hat, all that kind of stuff. I feel like Tua just can't lose the game. Like, the moment Tua loses the game, the cowman, all the people, I told you, when the Dolphins needed him the most, Tua let him down. It's like, dude, shut up, man. Like, just shut up. But, listen, Tua's going to keep on winning, and then what?
Bro, I'm not worried about none of the foolishness. Like, the Super Bowl's coming. We're going to get a ring really, really, really soon, bro. Really soon. Even if it's not this year, it's going to be next year. And I'm going to tell everyone to go back, check the receipts on GTD when Charlie Touche said Tua was going to win a ring during his rookie contract. So I'm not tripping. Everyone can talk. Our time is coming. You got something else before we go into bonus time?
You said about Super Bowl. We had Super Bowl this year. What city?
Arizona.
Did you see the sign and Hard Rock on Sunday? the Tua sign.
What it say?
TUA. Take us to Arizona.
Oh man,
I love it.
y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Alrighty.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time.
I've got some fun for bonus time. Unless you have, do you have anything?
Nah, go ahead.
Yes. So, shout out to Drakey. We said, what, could you get me in a Texans head coaching picture? So, we have this. This is Kadeem, the Texans head coach. We've already seen Kadeem, the New England head coach, as I have issues. Can you still see me all good?
Yeah, I can see you. If you listening to the audio version, Drakey has photoshopped our co-host Kadeem Simmons into basically a 20-year-old Lovie Smith. Got the beard, is not white, and he has the Texans uniform, well, the coach's jacket on with the red and blue headset. See, Kadeem, bro, you got to get rid of that headset, bro.
I'm glad you said that. What color is your headset?
Huh?
I said, what color is your headset?
My headset blue.
Oh, is it now? Is your headset blue? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Let's see how that plays out. Oh, don't let me down now. Perfect.
What we got here, man?
Hey,
Hey, listen. Bro, listen. Hey, Drakey did this too?
Jakey done this as well.
Listen, man. Listen. All right, so we're gonna share this on all the social media platform, man. We're gonna share this on Twitter, on IG. We're at Go Time Dolphins. Shout out to Drakey. Thank you for this, bro. This is an epic Photoshop of Kadeem as the coach of the Texans with his red and blue headset. And it looks so good because the team is behind him. But not only is the team behind him, there's a Photoshop of me, Charlie Touche, as looking like the quarterback coach behind Kadeem Simmons with my blue headset on. And now, you know what? I got to get a new headset because I can't be having our listeners Photoshop us in the other team uniforms, bro. This is a no deal. No deal.
So I have one more for you. One more.
No, we got another one.
One more. Drake is putting in that work. But this one, I promise you will love it.
Let's see what we get. Drake, hey, you see that? That's what I'm talking about.
And it's the fact that you're looking that way as well.
I like it. Hey, Drake, you all right with me, bro? So now we got another Photoshop, epic Photoshop of Charlie Touche's cutout on top of Coach Mike McDrip's body with the headset, calling a play to Tua, because I'm calling the plays, and Tua's like, the safety, he's coming down. What do you think I should do, coach? And I'm looking at him like with my straight face, like, bro, we got this. You know what I'm saying? No worries. I'm composed. You feel me? I love it. this is an epic Photoshop, bro. Matter of fact, I might have to make this like my some type of Avi on Twitter or something. I don't know. Hey, shout out to you, Drake. I appreciate you, Holmes. I like it, man. And I'm getting a new headset, so I can't be in the Kadeem conversation. Like I don't like that.
When he sent me the one of me and you, I was like, dude, I loved it. Like it was perfect. Your face as well. No, Drakey, thank you so much. Like that was a lot of fun on Saturday.
Boozy.